you're talking, for example, about a student lobby day at the Capitol. One thing I would do is when you set up the meeting, identify the issue or issues you'd like to talk about when you come. So that, as Rena said, so we can learn a little bit about the issue before you come through the door. So let us know what you want to talk about, because we get hit with, we'll be walking down the hall and I'll hear about raw milk, and then I'll walk a few steps further and I'll hear about emergency management, and then it'll be about building a highway in my district before I ever got the elevator. And Rich would always be right. He's always around the corner anyway. So it's good for us to know the issue ahead of time. If you bring materials, bring a one-page summary with your materials, because we'll often get thick books of materials, and they really will pile up every day on our desk. So an easy, whether it's bullet-pointed list or not, but one page that I can say, okay, now when I read that bigger material, I know why I'm reading it, what it's for. Personal letters, personal stories. You know, we hear a lot about the budget and the big scale impact of legislation. I want to know how legislation is going to affect you, or how legislation can help you. Because really, it's those personal stories that anchor the policy, at least in my mind. I'll understand the policy because you told me what it will do to you or for you. Field trips help me. So yeah, it's great to see you in my office. I'd rather come here and see you on campus. I'd rather go to your farm than have you come to me, because if I see it, I'll understand it better. We took Senator Franken to a hog farm right after he was truly elected, recount done type of thing. And it was great. We spent 2 hours in this hog farm. You had to shower in, shower out, because you got to stop bringing in disease. There was a hog that was birthing sows while we were there, so he was right there watching this hog. And he, 3 weeks later, was in Congress arguing for emergency aid for hog farmers who were suffering because of the misnamed swine flu. And he talked about this visit to the barn. So really, I'm a big advocate of field trips. Often we'll get criticized if folks visit with us and then we end up voting the way they didn't want us to vote. And that's fair. The criticism is absolutely fair. I would encourage folks for the relationship building side, you might also thank us if we vote the right way. And that's part of the relationship building long term. You'll graduate, you'll move on, but your student association will still want to work with us in years to come. You want us to have a good feeling, a positive feeling. Even if you criticize us, that's fine. But keep in touch with us. I'm so tired of seeing administrators talk about higher education. I'm so tired of seeing administrators talk about department policies. I want to hear from the students, the farmers. I want to hear from the kids who lost the health care in their families. So you really are a lot more powerful than you may think. Because I'll tell you, sitting on the other side of the table, when students come to the table, we pay a lot more attention than what the administrators do. Because it's about you. And I think, by and large, we're of good heart. We want to do the right things by the people. Otherwise, there are other things we could be doing. And so you help us when you tell us how we help you.
There are things that you can be down there and scream and scream and scream, and you will not have any impact at all. And some of that deals with money, with higher ed. Policy, you can have impact on. Money issues about, more money for young people to go to sometimes those are decisions made politically, behind closed doors, the amount of money, how they divide the money pie. But in regards to policy, it's always running fluid. I'll give you another example. How many people have heard of the Legacy Fund? Legacy money, millions and millions of dollars. We decided as a state of Minnesota to donate 3/8 of a cent for clean water, blah, blah, blah. There was an organization called the Lessard Sands Council that decided that they weren't going to be under a broad open meeting law. Only a narrow legislative open meeting law. So this group would be discussing how to recommend millions, almost $100 million of of our money and how it's to be spent. I found out late in the game, and I made an issue out of it. Now, how did I make an issue out of it? I've never tweeted. I have over 7,000 tweets now, and I only started last October. I tweeted about how secrecy, blah, 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 you know. Again, a lot of people started seeing that. I started talking to, you know, and other legislators started seeing it. But what drove me to it was when legislators were telling me, well, Rich, what's wrong with having the legislative open meeting thing? I mean, there's no problems. What's wrong? I'm not saying all, but some. What's wrong with meeting as the whole body meeting for breakfast before the meeting of the Lazard Sam's Council? I mean, and also a vice chair of that board. What's wrong with? And then I say, well, what's wrong with that? You're making decisions beforehand that are just going to be rubber stamped from my perspective at this other meeting. I'm trying to illustrate technology, tweets, to social media, which I didn't know what the hell it was all about a year ago. And it's been very effective now. And I just wanted to real quick, because there have been a lot of specific tips by a lot of folks here, and I didn't concentrate a lot on that. But if you go to Rich Neumeister, and just Google Rich Neumeister, you'll see lots of tips, specifics. The Senate media put out a great 8-9 minute piece called Citizen Advocates. And you can just get it through YouTube about had me, but also had a woman from West St. Paul who was playing hockey in the ice arenas, the Zambonis, they raise all this air, and people are getting sick. So she went through the process described by the legislators here, went to their legislator, got a bill written, blah, 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 and made a difference. I don't know if the bill passed or not, I don't forget, but it's a great example. There's another program, a 1 hour program that was put together, and if you, again, do Rich Neumeister, it's a 6-part thing on YouTube. Twyla Grace was well known about health care issues. A different perspective than me was brought together with myself and someone from what do they call it? What's the group that's been very active in your community? Elijah, Isaiah, or a gentleman, Dane Cow, I believe, who helped organize Isaiah and on issues and all that. And we talked specifically about real detailed kinds of things. And so I'm just trying to give you some sources, information, at least to get more detail. But at least that 8-minute thing that Senate Media puts out is a fantastic piece.
Great. Thank you. And we will, the Student Senate will look up those links and make sure that they're available to the students. So, with that, I see that we're at our time limit, but we'd like to again thank all of our panelists for coming this evening. Some of you came from quite a distance, and we really appreciate that. We appreciate your time. We know it's valuable, and even though it's interim, we know you're busy. So again, we really appreciate you being here and sharing this with us. And I do believe that this will have a good impact on future efforts by our student body. So again, thank you very much. Some thank you gifts here.